Okay, Kurt Klapier here with the Motivate podcast, and I've got on the line today Jesse Thielke, and he's a Greco-Roman Olympic team member for the 2016 Olympics coming up later this summer in Rio. For those of you that don't know what Greco-Roman wrestling is, that's the style of wrestling where you can only use upper body. You can't touch the legs, trip up the legs, grab the legs, that kind of thing. And so I've got Jesse kind enough to join us today to talk about a few things. Jesse, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's a pleasure to be here.
Good. You just got out of workout, you told me?
Yeah, we were on the mat this morning.
How was that? Was that at the Olympic Training Center?
Yep, it was good. Just a little tired getting used to the altitude now that we just got back into Colorado Springs. So that's always a nuisance. Worth it
Because
though.
you just came from California?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
Just a little bit, yeah.
So, Jesse, I'll post with this video some links to some videos of Jesse. He's a big throw kind of guy in wrestling. He's a big move kind of a wrestler. And he recently made the Olympic team and pulled off a pretty big upset to do that. But before we get into that story, I wanted to, Jesse, how did you get started in wrestling? When did you start?
In about second grade, uh, I used to get in a lot of trouble when I was younger. I would be just so competitive, fighting all the time, just trouble, 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 and wrestling was the perfect outlet for me. It took all that energy and all that frustration, everything I had going on. It funneled it in one positive direction, and it taught me discipline and so many things, and it's continuing to teach me stuff to this day. So that's how it started, and I never looked back. Never did. No other sport would get the job done for me. It wasn't hands-on enough. It wasn't physical enough. And
Where
I think, yeah, so at the end of the day, it was just knowing it was me out there doing everything I could to get my arm raised. I got hooked.
where did you do your youth wrestling and high school wrestling?
I started in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. That's where I'm originally from. And then I moved to Germantown, Wisconsin. And I wrestled there all throughout high school.
Okay, that's cool. And then I saw you're a three-time state champ. Is that accurate?
Four-time.
Four-time. Oh, the bio
Yes.
online says three.
Yeah, it's never, you can't trust those online bios.
That's awesome, man. Four-time. That's in Utah. That's I know. I'd say there's probably 10. How many are there in Wisconsin?
Yeah, it's probably like 13 or 14 now. I think there's been two since me, two or three, and I was 11 or 12. So.
That's pretty cool. Now, talk to me a minute about going into the state tournament, because a lot of athletes in general, not just wrestlers, but athletes in general, uh, when they're young, they kind of go to the state tournament with the attitude, at least my kids do. They have this attitude, whether it's conscious or subconscious, of this is a learning experience. I'm here, I'm young. I'm not expected to win. And so they're content with, two and out or even one win, things like that. What was the difference in your mindset going in? Like, did you know you were going to win it? What was your mindset
Yeah,
like?
I was just about to say. I mean, every year, every time going in, I knew I was going to win it. There was no other option for me. Anything else would have been a failure, and I knew I had put in the time, the training, dedication, sacrifices. I did everything I needed to do beforehand, and so I knew going in what the outcome was going to be. There was no question, no doubt in my mind.
And then you wrestled at the University of Wisconsin, right?
Yeah, for 3 years, and then I recently just got my release before Christmas.
To focus on Greco.
Yes.
So at what point now, most people, if you're not familiar with wrestling, folks, most wrestlers start out with folk style or freestyle, and as they get older, they add Greco. But Greco, for most people, is kind of a side sport. It's kind of just they do it enough to kind of get comfortable in throws and ties and things. At what point, Jesse, did you realize that Greco was your niche, that was your sport?
In about third or fourth grade, when I just started bombing little kids on their head and doing full back arches and suplexes, just way ahead of my age for it, and then I absolutely loved it. There's no better feeling than getting a 5-point throw or slamming a guy right to a fall. So I mean, just got addicted as soon as I started it.
Were those even legal at that age?
No, I could still do them though.
You did them anyways. Gotcha.
Yeah, I didn't care. If you do them right, they're safe. If you know how to throw, it's safe.
Yeah, no, it's
So they
amazing.
can get mad at me all I want, but I did it perfect. So it all depends on the refs. Some of them would mess with me and joke around. The ones that knew me would just give me the 5, and they're like, he's gonna do it again." So
That's funny. So, at what point did the Olympics become a realistic goal for you? At what point
I mean,
did
it's
you?
been my dream and my highest goal, obviously, ever in second grade. As soon as I started wrestling, I knew that's what I wanted to do. I set the highest standards and for every accolade I could do growing up. But it really started to hit home in 2012 when I brought my junior world bronze home from Thailand. And at that point, I knew, hey, I'm right there. I can do this. I'm meant to do this. This is my dream. This is my future, and I'm going to go get it.
And you were how old at that time?
19.
19. Were you already wrestling for Wisconsin by then?
No, right after that, I really wrestled in Thailand and went right to school.
So once you saw some success on the world level, that's when it kind of started, in your mind at least, became a reality.
It
I could
became
actually
a
make this.
reality then, yes.
That's awesome. Now, I want to get into the Olympic trials, but before I do, I had a couple questions. You, for you, wrestling, you loved it from an early age. What advice would you give to young wrestlers just getting into the sport?
You know, for younger guys that are just getting in, they gotta find their drive, the reason that they go to practice every day, the reason that they'll go to those tournaments and make sacrifices. Some people don't have, those highest goals. Some people are content with just this and that. But I mean, as a coach, I can't tell my kids that. I can't allow them to think like that because I want them to have that attitude that they will throughout the life, because it's about more than just wrestling when you're a coach. It's about changing their lives and teaching them and preparing them for the future. So, I mean, some kids you're going to have to push. Some kids are going to be pushed themselves. It goes on an individual basis, you know. But I just try to tell them that keep their mindset that the sky's the limit no matter what. When you start, a lot of guys, they start later and they still find success. It doesn't matter. It's about the time, the dedication, and the sacrifice. That's the greatest thing about our sport is you get out of it what you put in. So if you give it 100%, you're going to get 100% out. So that's the deal.
Yeah, I think that's what got me hooked on it when I started realizing that in football and baseball and stuff, regardless of how hard I worked, it still was up to the coaches and it was up to my body size wasn't very big and things like that. And
Yeah, some people, make play in the NBA just because they're 7 foot.
right.
It's crazy. Just
Yep.
because you're 7 feet, that's it.
Yeah. I haven't seen a 7 foot wrestler yet.
No, give it time though.
Yeah. Kel
We'll see.
Sanderson's probably one of the taller ones. And what's he, 6 foot?
He's a big boy. Yeah, there's some big ones out there, but they're usually larger.
Yeah. So let's get back to getting ready for the World Team Trials. This when was it? March, a couple months ago.
April.
April. And what was the training like leading up to it? Walk us through. Tell us a little about what you did to prepare for the World Team Trials because you had an incredible tournament.
Yeah, just we got my diet set 6-7 weeks out. Stopped lifting weights, was running about 15 miles a week. Keep those legs strong, cardio, keep my weight down. I mean, just staying disciplined, everything we do, doing extra work, doing the little things right, pushing ourselves every day, taking care of the body. We had a plan, we stuck to it, and it worked out perfectly.
When you say you got your diet right, that's a big deal in wrestling, especially if you have to cut any kind of weight.
Yeah.
How what do you mean by that? Were you within striking distance, so it wasn't a big loss? So you weren't.
Yeah, I was within. I got my weight down early, and I was within 5 pounds every day after practice. Sometimes the last 3 weeks out.
And feeling
Out.
good at 5 pounds over.
Yeah, and full wrestling practices live, everything.
That's cool. Yeah, those of you that are new to wrestling, a wrestler at Jesse's level, or even high school level for that matter,
Yeah,
5 pounds is nothing. You can lose 5 pounds overnight and still feel fine.
yeah,
So if you can get your weight under control to that point, that's awesome. So diet was a
yeah.
big thing. Who are you working out with? Who are your training partners?
Well, Rayvon Perkins, he made the team at the weight class above me, and Nico Trigus, and he was in my weight class at 59.
Gotcha. And that was all at the Olympic Training Center?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So, and I got to ask this because for most of the wrestling world, it was a big surprise to see you upset Mango in the the semis because he'd been the guy at the last Olympics and
Yeah.
the last few worlds. Did you train with him or does he train somewhere else?
No, he trains at the WCAP. They trained elsewhere.
Okay.
We don't really train together before the big tournaments and such. I mean, that never bothers me, but that's just the way it goes.
Gotcha. You made him retire.
Yeah, I had no idea that was gonna happen. Like, I know the Mangos really well. Like, they're awesome people, their whole family. And after the match, obviously, I was super pumped up, because everything that I'd been doing had paid off. And then I see him start taking his shoes off, and I was just like, oh man, yeah, it was crazy.
Well, there,
Yeah,
there's always
I'll
some
never
of that.
forget that.
Yeah, there's always some of that heartbreak in wrestling, but I'm
Yeah,
assuming he's a nice guy. We're actually interviewing him next week on this, but
yeah,
I'm assuming that he had planned on retiring after this Olympics, regardless what
this
happened.
cycle, yeah.
Yeah. So, now that you've made the team, what are you guys doing? What's the process from here to Rio?
Well, we just got back from California, where we're out there training at CYC with one of our Olympic coaches. And that was a lot of cardio and circuit-based training. And then now we're back here. We're going to be on the mat for a little bit. Nothing too crazy, but getting back into the flow. And then the 11th, we leave for Azerbaijan for 3 weeks, and we'll be training with their team out there. And that'll be a lot on the mat and hard wrestling. And then we get back, and we have our own camp, training camp here. So we'll have all the national team and stuff. And that takes us pretty much right up to the games almost.
I'm curious because I never reached this level. I reached the junior college levels as far as I got, and now I'm a coach. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
curious at the Olympic level, which you're at now, are you still adding new technique, or are you just fine tuning what you already know and getting in better shape?
Uh, it's a big combination. It's kind of a combination of both. Now that I know my style and what I'm good at and effective at in Greco, which is completely unorthodox compared to everyone else, I can play and build on it, and I can add little things here and there. I mean, I'm always learning. I'm always adding stuff. I'm always tweaking. But right now, I'm just developing and continuing to develop my own style and getting comfortable with it. And I'm excited for the future because this is just my first year back.
Do you guys know do you know the pools, the brackets yet for Rio?
No, it's a random draw at Wayans.
Oh yeah, that's right. They do it randomly. That's always blown my mind. Actually, I went and watched the World Championships, and sometimes the two best guys meet in the first round.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
exactly. It's crazy.
It's crazy that there's no seeding criteria for a World Championship.
No, it'd be too hard with all the different tournaments and countries, and I get why they do it, but yeah, it is crazy.
Yeah, it'd be too much of a fight to figure it out. So, a couple questions I had for you. You said you coached. What level
Yeah.
are you coaching at right now?
I mean, I started coaching little kids when I was 14, and then in high school I coached middle school, and I mean, I used to travel around all summer with Ken Chertow at his camps because I grew up wrestling at those. So he kind of got me into it as a junior counselor when I was younger, and I coach all levels now.
Gotcha. You coach it. You helping with
Every
college?
level, any skill level doesn't matter. I coached team with the Team Kansas national team last year. We did Southern Plains, junior duels, Fargo, everything doesn't matter.
How do you? I want to ask this because a lot of people overlook this. We spend as wrestlers, we go 100%. At least the dedicated ones do, training our bodies, but the mindset is neglected a lot of times. And I find that to be the difference a lot of times between the great wrestlers and the okay wrestlers. How did you prepare your mind? How did you prepare your mindset for the trials?
I knew what I was capable of, and I done everything right leading up to that. If you do that, you're already going to put yourself miles ahead in the mental game. I mean, everyone's going to have doubts. Everyone's going to get worried. But at the end of the day, when that whistle blows, if you're prepared, you're ready to go. You're ready for war.
Do you have any advice for coaches to help them motivate their own teams, help them get them in the right
I mean,
mindset?
when it comes to that mental game for the kids, you have to be positive. You have to be encouraging. You have to make sure that that kid believes in themselves as much as you believe in them, and then you'll be good to go. Because if you don't believe in them, how do you expect they to believe in themselves? So you got to get them going, get them fired up, get them prepared. You know,
Cool.
keep them calm so they're ready to go. So they're not just a bull in the ring out there. Keep it to wrestling, and they just got to let it fly. And so, I mean, some kids it's going to take longer than others. Some kids are already mentally there and they have that edge and they're good to go, and you don't really have to worry about them. And others that you're going to have to work with. That's
Ha-
just the way it goes.
Yeah, it's true. Some kids are, and there's a difference between confident and cocky. I've noticed some kids are cocky, but
Yeah, not a fan of cocky. Big fan of confident. Don't like big heads. Egos and me don't get along well.
that's good. Um, I was going to ask you along those same lines. do you have anything to say to someone who's considering wrestling? Like, why should they wrestle if you're talking to a young kid?
They should wrestle because no matter what they do, how long they stick with it, whatever happens, you will learn things that you can use the rest of your life. It will change you for the better, whether it's toughness, dedication, sacrifice, discipline, doesn't matter. It teaches everything. It prepares you for everything. So I would say if you're thinking about it, get in there. Get in there and give it a little bit of time because it ain't easy or else everyone would do it. So give it some time. Don't just quit right away because it's hard. And I guarantee you the brotherhood, companionship, and all the rest of the lessons you learned, you'll value it for the rest of your life. And it will be one of the best decisions you ever made.
Cool. I wanted to give you a chance to tell us a story or two. What was your favorite wrestling experience so far in your career?
Interesting. Probably so far until I go to the Olympics, it's going to be Junior Worlds in Thailand in 2012. That was an amazing trip. I had so much fun there. But recently we've been going to Budapest a lot. We went there for the Hungarian Grand Prix this year, and then we also went there again in between Mongolia and Istanbul for our Olympic qualifiers. And Budapest is by far my favorite city overseas. It's beautiful and amazing. There's so much to do there. The Hungarians are great at Greco wrestling, so it's everything you could ever want. But Thailand's awesome. Thailand's a lot of fun. It's so cool there.
Why have you guys been going to Budapest a lot? Is there competition, or are you just training with their guys?
Both. Competition's good, training's good. They have it all. It's awesome. That's why I had Worlds in 2013 as well.
Gotcha. On my last podcast, I visited with Quake Cooper. You know who he is?
Not off the top of my head.
He was an All-American at Indiana, and
Gotcha.
now he's a motivational speaker and sports marketer and stuff. But I was visiting with him, and he said something that I thought was interesting that I'm going to ask you about. He said that now that he's done with wrestling, and I know this is several years off for you still, but he said now that he's done with wrestling, the most important thing about it was what he learned from it. What have you learned from wrestling that you're going to take into the rest of your life?
Pretty much everything. Like I said, it changed my life. It helped me a lot when I was younger. I got to say the discipline at the biggest part. Knowing what you need to do, being able to make those sacrifices, responsibilities, prioritize. I mean, it's just everything you could ever ask for to prepare you for life. It's ridiculous. He was absolutely correct. It's totally accurate.
Awesome. Well, Jesse, I want to thank you for your time. And before we wrap up, since a lot of the people that listen to this are coaches, I want to ask who your most influential coach was for you and why.
That's tough. I've had so many good coaches.
You can name more than one. You don't have to just name one.
Oh,
but I'm more curious as to like what was influential about them, like what they did that made a difference.
Yeah. Well, my club coach and when I was younger and that I worked with during high school, Jim Schmitz, he was a phenomenal technician. And that's what I built my core and my base, my wrestling around, because I was never the strongest, never the fastest, always the meanest and always the most technically correct. So he was so disciplined, and we wrestled all three styles no matter what, so we could learn every position, everything, whether we got comfortable or not. So I was very blessed for that. And then every summer I would go train with, like I said, Ken Chertow, and we'd go out east and I wrestle folk style. And he taught me everything that I know that I didn't pick up on my own from coaching. And we worked on folk style and just different wrestlings. And he introduced me to so many different people and coaches that I know now and other wrestlers. And it was amazing. So I would have to say those two are the biggest in my younger years. And then for my Greco coaches, Momir Pekovic, my head coach now. I mean, he's been working with me since I was on my first junior world team, since I was 16, coming out here and just getting my ass whooped. So it's been a long time coming.
Awesome. Yeah, coaches make a difference. So, well, Jesse, I want to thank you for your time. Give you a chance to say anything else you want to know, or anything else you feel like saying.
No, you gotta stick with it. No matter who you are and what you're doing, if you're in wrestling, you're doing something right. And it's gonna change your life just like it changed mine. Everyone it affects a little bit differently, depending on life and everything else that they have to deal with. But it's only a positive thing. And I would encourage anyone thinking about it to get involved. Anyone who has kids, friends, family that are thinking about getting involved, or you're thinking about getting them involved, do it. You will not regret it. You will not regret it.
Yeah, well, we wish you luck, man. Last few years, in the Greco scene, we've had one guy winning medals. I'm hoping that there's at least another one or two of you this year. We'll be watching, all right?
Oh yes, it's my time now. It's on.
Do it, man. Go get them.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for your time.
No problem. Have a great day.
Yep.